We are in the part 3 of our presentation. In this part, we'll discuss the root purpose of sending messengers to preach this only one advice. In part 2, we found that warning of severe punishment in hereafter is the only one advice which expressed with ma'anillah, the unambiguous style. That's why the purpose of sending messengers were also to preach this warning expressed similarly with ma'anillah, the unambiguous style, as we see in chapter 17, verse 105. Omar Salnaka illa mubashira or nazira. We send no messengers only as giver of good news and warner of hereafter. The same style of expression with ma'anillah in chapter 21, verse 25. But that is not talking about warning of hereafter. Omar salnaka min qablika min rusulin illa nuhi ilahi annahu la ilaha illa ana fabudu. This verse is expressing the purpose of sending messengers is worship one ilah. This verse is expressing the purpose of sending messengers as warner of hereafter. Two different subjects as only purpose of sending messengers may appear contradictory. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's ayat is beyond human contradiction. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it clear, chapter 11, verse 25 and 26. And indeed, we say no to his people. I have come to you as a plain warner, so that you worship none but Allah. Surely I fear you the torment of painful day. And after him, Prophet Hud came, chapter 46, verse 21. He said the same thing. There are positive warner before him. He's talking about Nuh. And after him, all were warners. And they warned, worship none but Allah. Truly I fear you for the punishment of a terrible day. So they were warners. They warn about the punishment of a terrible day so that people worship none but Allah. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent messengers as warner so that human can save themselves from terrible punishment by worshipping Allah alone. So worship Allah alone and warner are not contradictory. Both are ways to save from the terrible punishment in hereafter. We also found that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned worship as purpose of creation so that human can save themselves from terrible punishment. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned it as a purpose of his creation. Ama khalaqtul jinna wal insa illa liyabudu. Chapter 51, verse 56. I have created jinn and human only for worship me, so that they can save themselves from terrible punishment. Also expressed with ma'anillah, the unambiguous style. That's why prophets are mentioned in chapter 25, verse 1, Alamina Nazira. Prophets are warner of Alamin. But we also found in chapter 21, verse 107, that Omar Salnaka illa rahmat lil alamin. Rahmat and Nazir are two opposite words. That might appear contradictory in the human mind. How prophet will perform two opposite roles? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it clear in chapter 7, verse 63. Liunzirakum alitattaku la'allakum turhamun. He may warn you so that you may fear Allah, that you may receive mercy. We can more explain with an example. For example, anyone moving by a road, someone warned him about an impending great danger in that road. He took the heed of the warning of a great danger. That infused fear in him to move very carefully or change the direction of his route. Due to such carefulness, he had saved himself from great danger that became great mercy for his life. So warning of a great danger became greatest mercy for his in life. Similarly, anyone takes the heed of warning of a terrible punishment in hereafter, this warning infused fear of taqwa in him to be careful of not doing wrong deeds in the life. That saved him from the terrible punishment and enter into the everlasting happy life of hereafter. So warning of a terrible punishment become the greatest mercy for him in the life. That's why prophets are mentioned as Rahmat lil Alameen. And Alameen and Nazira are not contradictory. Both are messages of hereafter said differently. Both are messages of hereafter. Similarly, we find prophets are also mentioned as Mubashira, the good giver of a good news of everlasting happy life, so that people inspired by the everlasting happy life of hereafter and worship Allah will be saved from the punishment of hereafter. So worship Mubashira, Nazira, Rahmat lil Alameen, Alameen and Nazira, and worship one ilah, all are the messages of hereafter, only said differently. That's why the warning of hereafter is not only encompassed with mercy, also with the highest level of wisdom, as expressed in chapter 54, verse 4 and 5. The root of hikmah found about 220 times in the Quran, but nowhere with superlative adjective except expressing the warning of hereafter, baligatan. Warning of hereafter is stated with superlative adjective hikmatan baligatan, the complete or outstanding wisdom. Such superlative hikmah is only once used in the Quran to define the highest level of wisdom embedded in the warning of hereafter, because someone taking heed of the warning will be saved from the punishment of hereafter. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say chapter 2 verse 269, He grants wisdom to whom He wills, and he to whom hikmah is granted is indeed granted great good. There's a Quranic commentator said, a person who is certain that there is a snake in a hole will not put his hands in it. Likewise, who is certain about warning of a severe punishment in hereafter, he cannot go against the commands of Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent messengers as warner. Anyone taking heed of this warning of a punishment of a terrible day, he will worship Allah alone. So purpose of sending messengers as warner is said more times with unambiguous style. That's why the warning of hereafter is expressed 5 times with ma'anillah, the unambiguous style, as you can see on the screen. And only once in case of worship Allah with ma'anillah, the unambiguous style, is this verse. Moreover, illa nazira, only warner, mentioned 13 times, and innama nazira, only warner, mentioned 8 times. Total 21 times prophets are mentioned as only warner of hereafter. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explains in chapter 6 verse 19. Say, what thing is greatest in witness? What is Akbar Shahida? Allah said, people say, Allah is witness between you and me, and He has revealed this Quran to me so that I may warn you and whomever it may reach. So we found the mercy is embedded in the warning of hereafter, highest level of wisdom embedded in the warning of hereafter, Quran revealed to warn human. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, saying, it is only wahi to me that I am a clear warner. The first prophet, Nuh, peace be upon him, saying, I am nothing, only clear warner. And the last prophet, Muhammad, peace be upon him, saying, Oma ana, I am nothing, illa nazirum mubin. I am nothing, only clear warner. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, this Muhammad is a warner of series of the warners of the past. So without doing anything, if Rasul only performs his role as warner and it becomes sufficient for him as prophet, that means warning is the root in which all other roles of prophets are implanted. So warning is the root. That's why the Quranic commentators also say the innermost purpose of all has always been warning extended by Allah to human. Warning has twofold objectives, because it can warn the rejectors of the truth and guide those who have already believed in it. That's why the greatest witness to Allah is the warning. Akbar Shahida. We are at the end of our part 3 presentation. Now we'll move to part 4 of our presentation.